Do you sleep like this? Do you go to sleep straight away? Do you sleep through the whole night? Well, if you do, you can skip this video and not even worry about it. But if you're a bit like me and you struggle to either A, get to sleep, or you wake up in the middle of the night and for the life of you cannot go back to sleep, then you're probably going to want to pay attention. Now, the thing with sleep is, it's one of the few things in life that the harder you try, the worse it gets. The more effort you put in, the less you get rewarded. So let's talk about sleep. So, I brought along my sidekick.
I woke up, guys.
She was really asleep. Who gets way better sleep than I do? But there's a lot of information out there on sleep. This is just what I've sort of come up with, and definitely stole some of Kat's ideas as well on how to actually get a good night's sleep from someone who knows how to do it effortlessly. But for someone who struggles with it, these are the quick sort of 10 things that I've learned over the years on how to get a good night's sleep. And the first one is... Tip number 1 is the sun. So first thing when you wake up, you want to go out and you want to get good exposure to the sun. We've got little receptors in our retinas in our eyes that actually, when they feel the sunlight hit them, it sets off a bit of an alarm, which we've spoken about in previous videos. And what that does is spikes cortisol, but then basically sets an alarm clock for 14 hours. From then we're going to get a major release of melatonin. Now, as important as watching the sun rise can be watching the sun set. So this is the body's sort of natural trigger when the sun's going down, that we're decreasing light, that the body's going to start increasing melatonin. So watching the sun set and watching the sun rise and watching the sun set can really help with your sleep.
So our tip number 2 for sleep is actually exercise or movement. So making sure your body is moving through the day, using all your energy reserves. That can look different for everybody. Some people need a lot more. I don't need as much. I've got a very hyperactive husband who definitely needs more exercise and movement than I do. But yeah, move your body. That will help you with your sleep for sure.
If you're like me and you're a bit ADHD, it is much easier to go to sleep if you are physically exhausted. So going out there, whether it's run, surf, gym, whatever it is, but it is much easier to go to sleep when you are physically tired. Now, the tip with this is not to exercise too late into the afternoon, because what that will do is it'll actually elevate your cortisol and start to strip your melatonin. So ideally, if you're gonna do sort of vigorous, strenuous exercise, try and whack it out in the morning so you can get that cortisol peak. And then ideally, you wanna start winding the body down as you get closer to bedtime. Tip number 3, meals. Now, the secret with meals before bed, ideally you wanna eat at least sort of 2 to 3 hours before you go to sleep, and avoid eating too heavy a meal before you go to bed. Now the reason is, that's gonna increase the amount of blood that's going to your stomach. You're gonna have spikes in glucose. And what that's gonna cause downstream is an increase in that resting heart rate. So ideally we wanna get that resting heart rate as low as possible before we go to bed. Now, Brian Johnson, the slightly weird dude who's trying to live forever, spoke about that increasing the amount of time between eating and falling asleep saw some of the greatest improvements in his quality of sleep. So I've personally tried it now and it does work. So if you can, try and eat 2 to 3 hours before you go to bed. Tip 4 is light. So ideally you want to kill as many of those bad boys off as you can. What they're going to do is they're basically going to strip your melatonin and they're going to boost cortisol, especially in a lot of modern households where we're using LED lights. Not great for going to sleep. So ideally you want to switch to one of these bad boys. Salt lamp, or light some candles, just don't burn your house down. And if you can, put on a pair of these sexy bad boys, bit of the blue blockers. Awesome if you're gonna have to work on the computer or something like that.
I don't know what I'm doing.
So, tip number 5 is your resting heart rate. Now, the lower your heart rate is before you go to sleep, the better quality of sleep that you'll have, and often the deeper you'll fall into sleep. So, one of the tips that I've learned is about 20 to 30 minutes before you go to bed, do some form of meditation or deep breathing. And if you can get your resting heart rate down into the 50s, or if you're pretty fit into the 40s, it will improve the quality of your sleep massively. And it also starts to switch the brain off and just prepare the body for that wind down.
So as mentioned, sleep isn't something I typically struggle with, but the times I do struggle with it is when my mind is racing. I might be stressed, anxious about something happening, and this baby, journaling, is the only thing that will help me get to sleep or stay asleep at night. I can look different for everyone. Can be drawn, written, however you want to do it, but just journal all those thoughts, get them out of your head, and then go to sleep.
So tip number 7 is grounding sheets. So basically all they're doing is they mimic the effects of grounding while you sleep. Some of those positive effects include, decreasing your cortisol and then decreasing inflammation. They're not for everyone, but for myself personally, I've definitely found that I'll stay asleep for longer, like having less wake-ups through the night since we put these grounding sheets in. And also noticed that my sleep is a bit deeper. Compared to when, say for instance, I go away for work and I sleep in a hotel, for me personally, yeah, I notice the difference.
Tip 8, you can't always control your environment, but what you can control is your light by using a mask, or your sound by using some noise cancelling headphones. Tip number 10 is consistency. So that's being consistent in the time you go to bed and the time you wake up. Help your body know a routine by being consistent. And this can be as simple as, we all set wake up alarms. Why aren't you setting an alarm to go to sleep?
Pro tip, the bed should be only for 2 things. Sleeping and the other thing.
You know the other thing. So that is our 10 tips for getting a good night's sleep. Obviously, everybody's different. What works for one might not work for another, but give it a go. Let us know what works for you, and if you found a different tip that we haven't mentioned, please mention it so we can give it a go as well.
Love to hear from you guys.
Bye.